I'm aging rapidly as we speak.
Well, would you like to start off? 'Cause we haven't done I guess we graduated quickly from warming up not long ago. But would you like to do some sound effects? And maybe this won't make it into the show, but this can warm us up a little bit.
Spoiler alert, it made it into the show.
I would be delighted to do a quick warm up, and I'm sorry for being delayed. That's like 3 weeks in a row now. I should probably be punished.
Delayed? Who was delayed?
I was at least six
Oh,
minutes
because of,
late.
but you
Yeah,
gave me you
yeah, I
gave
was
me
on the toilet.
you gave me some inspiration though.
In what way?
Well, you said you specifically referred to it as gastric distress, so I threw in a premise in which it's a western, and there's a damsel tied up in the tracks west of town, but her intestines are tied up because it's gastric distress. She's a damsel in gastric distress.
That's brutal.
I mean, not literally tied up, but they're all twisty, and she's got some cramps, and they need to send the sheriff to save her.
She's a damsel in gastric distress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the sheriff can save her. I guess he's got Metamucil.
Yeah. Okay, where did I put my list? Did I put it in sketch planning?
That is probably where it belongs.
Yeah. Okay. Sound effects list. So yeah, I'm not really in this sketch, so most of this is you and it's like a character. So the first scene is, I guess I will do a little voice that I'll tone down for the kid. Of the two that I had as like tests, did you prefer one of the voices, or do you think we should do it some other way?
I thought the voices were pretty good, although I did find that the child voice reminded me an awful lot of Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, so that was so there's one yeah, when you pitch shift anything up, it's kind of going to end up sounding like Alvin and the Chipmunks. I wonder if we just did like an old woman voice. This is my hi child, I'm an old woman. Should she have a voice like this?
Probably, but like, what would that sound like if you pitched it up a little?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I could test that. I'll have my mom do it.
When she's done looking at porn.
Oh yeah. But yeah,
That
so
was that was topical. That was a joke last week, or was it
it
the
was
week
a joke
before?
last week. Would you call that topical, or would you call that continual?
It would be continual now.
It's continuity for the podcast.
Todd's mom and porn.
It's canon. Well, because Todd has a mommy thing, and then Todd's mommy has a parasexual thing.
That would make a lot of sense to me, and it would explain where his mommy thing comes from.
Have you seen or read Choke?
I have not.
That's a Chuck Palahniuk book, and the movie stars Sam Rockwell as a fellow who developed ridiculous parasexual fetishes because of his mother, who's played by Angelica Huston, whatever, who used to like take him around, and she was like a con woman, and as a child she would take him around the country as her little like pawn, and so that gave him a bunch of trauma and sexual fuck upness.
Yeah, I could understand that. Wow, I mean, you can always count on that guy to write something like that.
That's what happens when you, once again, I believe I'm getting this correctly, witness your father being murdered at gunpoint.
Yeah, I have a feeling creating really, really disturbing stories and stuff like that is his parasexual thing.
Oh, probably. Anyhow, opening scene of this, we need you to be yelling as you're running away. As it cuts away from the flute intro music, it cues in with you being chased by the kid. So I need you to yell for like 3 seconds as though you're being chased.
Do you want me to push the microphone away as I do so that you get some Doppler?
Actually, I would probably like it to be incoming. So have the mic far away from you and then approach your face.
Okay, let me give that a shot. Ah!
Okay, now what happens? Because I'm trying to think of if we can do like a muffle effect. I don't know if it will work, but if you start with your hand covering your face, not like muffled, like, but just blocking the mic, and then as you're coming from the other room, does that sound like
Okay.
anything to you?
I can try that. I don't know if I'll have enough hands.
Oh, I guess so, right?
I can still try.
Yeah, you can. I mean, that removed the Doppler. I was just staying. I was stationary in front of the mic the whole time.
Ah!
Yeah, that worked.
Was that all right?
Yeah, that was great.
Okay.
Like thumping downstairs. Do I have? I would need a surface. I'll just bang on a surface, but I won't do the one that has the mic on it now. That will just rattle.
Well, you can always just.
Yeah, I'll do a couple of those. A whizzing knife. I guess that would just be.
Yeah.
Okay, you do a couple.
I actually tried to wave my hand in front of the mic as if I could make as if my hand was sharp and fast enough to do that.
You're a Terminator.
Yeah. I've got knife hands. Ow.
A pound on the door. That would be another one. I should get a board. Here, let me try it with a skateboard. Let me see what this sounds like.
Right on.
What did that sound like? Did that make sound?
If it did, I didn't hear it.
Okay, let me try again.
That was pretty good.
Okay, good. Let me see if that can do footsteps then. Let me try with fingertips.
That was pretty good.
Okay, interesting. We're Foley artists now. Did you see that? I feel like it's like early internet college humor or Funny or Die, where it was a Foley artist and they were a porn Foley artist and they were like hammering a pickle around in a mayonnaise jar to make the fapping sounds.
I remember, yeah.
Oh, 2004 or whatever.
Yeah, it was around that time when the internet was allowed to be funny for a few minutes.
No, member berries.
Yeah, remember when B was good? B was never good.
Phone dialing. Oh, I think that would be funny to do it as just a boop, 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 boop. How many digits?
Oh, you mean phone dialing, not phone ringing? Because phone ringing, you can always just be like, bring, bring.
Yeah, no, this is the like a speed dial.
Boopy, 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 boop.
Boopy, boop, 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 boop.
Oh, boy.
And then, okay, so this
Boop, 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 boop. Sorry, I want every phone dial to sound like Funky Town.
That would be funny. Interesting. Okay, mental note to make that come back. If we ever have a vehicle that is our vehicle, we should have a Funky Town horn.
A Funky Town horn would be awesome, and also so would having to the code to get in the door, because I forgot my keys, because I don't know, Tucker doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who can remember his keys, and also he needs to sit on like 3 textbooks and have like stilts in order to drive.
Right.
But that's besides the point. He needs to enter the door code, and I think it should be Funky Town.
Everything is always Funky Town. I like that. I like the idea that and they should overlap at some point. One Funky Town should be occurring while we're receiving a phone call to the Funky Town tone.
Oh, Funky Town overload, and we don't know which is which.
Yeah, actually, yeah, 3 occur at the same time, and it summons the Funky Demon.
Oh,
the mayor of Funky Town, actually.
But since he's a politician in Funky Town, he is in fact a demon.
Well, he had to sell his soul to the devil to get as funky as he is.
If you want to be in charge of Funky Town, you have to make like a blues deal.
Yeah, you have to do a Crossroads deal, and you have to play some sort of musical solo. What's his name? Ralph Macchio is there. Britney Spears.
Yeah, obviously. I have to wonder what Britney did to screw her Crossroads demon over to wind up with that shit problem with her father for so long.
Oh, that's so funny. If her father is actually one of the conditions of fucking up the deal.
Yeah, like one of the terms and conditions. Like if you don't quite do X, then we will impose such a penalty upon you as this.
There was a pox on thy house, and the pox was her father's behavior. It was that.
Yeah, it turns out the pox. It turns out the pox was the house. and it's not yours anymore. It's now your dad's.
Wowie. Okay, let's get us back on track. The speed dial. Okay, so this needs to be, I think it's about, I timed it out. It's about 4 seconds long. It's between 3 and 4 seconds. And it's a spot where right now we have Craig narrating, but we need to replace it because I didn't feel like, actually what I did was I wrote down something to animate, and then I had the whole sequence animated, and I deleted the sequence before I remembered to put a prop into it. So instead of having a frying pan, Mark now just does have an athletic cup. And so he needs to make a reference. The kid says, well, what are you waiting for? And so he needs to say something about like, well, Edith told me to grab an athletic cup. I actually still have mine from high school. Or if we could workshop it now to whatever you think is funny, or if it needs to be funnier.
We can do an athletic cup. That's fine. It's a pretty common item that men own.
And it's something that would not be visible because it's under the clothing, so it's like something that's not visible in the scene but can be made reference to, and you already kind of like make a reference to the camera and say just in case, so it almost is, it's already kind of like cheeky.
Yeah because I mean a frying pan has to be over the clothes.
Yeah,
the only time you do a visual gag for a cup is if it happens to be a cod piece.
true. And that I feel like would need to be, if we're ever going to do a cod piece, I think it's more funny in something that's actually genre appropriate.
Genre appropriate, but with a very inappropriate cod piece, as they were always meant to be. They're like putting nipples on a breastplate. Batman.
That was a thing.
Yeah, it was, and it was always intended to be vaguely inappropriate. This is my metal chest. Just look at my metal nipples. And that's why their cod pieces got more and more elaborate and longer, and I'm sure some of them had truck nuts.
I like the idea. I kind of like the idea of a person wearing truck nuts, or I guess a robot with truck nuts.
If a robot is going to wear truck nuts, it has to be like a super douchey robot. You know what I mean? Because it has to be the kind of guy who puts truck nuts on his truck.
Yeah, that's how you get that across. It's in a society where there are no trucks anymore, and so you have to put it on whatever else is around.
Oh, if you want to be that guy, you have to just make do. And there are tons of truck nuts left to spare, but no trucks.
Could you read that line?
That Edith woman said something about an athletic cup. I think I still have mine from high school.
Perfect.
Is that perfect? Do you want a different intonation on it?
Yeah, I guess maybe a little bit more
urgency.
I'm trying to think about how, because in the moment, like, I don't know if there is urgency in the scene anymore. Not as pensive. Maybe with not urgency, but purpose and conviction.
That either whoops. Edith is just a hard name, man. That either
That either woman.
That Edith. My tongue isn't fast enough. That Edith woman said something about an athletic cup. I think I still have mine from high school. That Edith woman said something about an athletic... You know what? I'm going to take Edith right out of it. I'm just going to say that woman.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
That woman said something about an athletic cup. I think I still have mine from high school.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Okay, the fighting sounds is for when they're walking into the place, and I have 3 dust clouds of fights.
I saw those and I loved them a lot.
That was the simplest way that I could think of to make that occur.
So do you want just like some smacking sounds?
Oh yeah, we'll have smacking sounds, and then we'll do little grunts as well. And then a little bit of rabbling. Rabble, 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 rabble.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
You're there. I think that's good.
We're children.
That is the entire point of doing all this, is to remain children.
Yeah, it's pretty much true, isn't it?
I don't want no. Well, I guess it's inevitable, but I'm gonna try to stave off dementia as long as possible.
Youth is the cure. Eternal youth. Never growing up.
Yeah, I think that's it. Because I guess dementia is a hard correction for having tried to push away youth. Fighting sounds. Oh, so this is you're grabbing the ticket off of the skeleton. Just a yoink. Or I'll take that, whatever you prefer.
I don't mind a yoink. Yoink.
Yeah, that's a yoink. The bin dropping noise, I'll actually download one. I don't think we should fake this one. I want it to be like realistic. Clang, 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 dunk. Included with like metallic swinging mailbox door sound as well.
Oh yeah, that I like that sound. You don't hear that anymore.
I associate it with Jumpstart. I think it was 4th grade in which we went to the moon. And when you opened, or maybe it might have actually been, no, it was the Magic School Bus Goes to Space game on the computer for Windows 95 or whatever. When you would open the latch to go out onto a planet, that squeaky metal door.
Oh yeah, that's a tank hatch.
So for sounds associated with doors, there's a 3-second sequence. It's not even a sequence. It's just a 3-second pan across the doors, and I don't have any sounds for it yet. I don't know if we should put like haunting, tense music, or if we should just very quickly, as the camera pans over the doors, have a sound kind of associated with the door, like smart sounds, sports sounds, sexy sounds, dangerous sounds.
I mean, creaky doors are not only a door sound, but they're already a spooky sort of sound.
Ah, that's interesting. Just to have ominous creaking door sounds echoing through a reverb.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe like one single organ note.
Or like a Left 4 Dead sort of violin string pluck, just like not a pluck, but just like grinding the string across something.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get it.
I've been conditioned to respond to audio cues. I'm like a Pavlov dog.
Oh, we all have. Door clanking open, that is one that I'll hand down as well. I want that to be a realistic, like cogs in a gear and a cog, whatever. Clank, 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 shunk. Oh, and so we need Mark saying, now that's a child.
Just 1 second.
No worries. Munch your cookies.
That is actually what I'm doing. I have Christmas cookies that I just dipped in some tea.
Ooh, luxury.
Now that's a child. Or should it be, now that's a child.
No, the same energy as the first one, but do lean on the that's. Now that's a child.
Now that's a child. More emphasis?
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Now that's a child.
Yeah.
Let me know if you want me to do that one more time.
Now that is a child. Just like that, you're thrilled you've been through all this like misery, and now you see this gleaming baby boy that gets spat out, and you're like, now that is a child.
Now that is a child.
There, that's a perfect read on it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, oh yeah, the last one is a gulp. Kid turns into a bad, dangerous thing, which I think maybe, I don't know if I need to do any like video effects to that. I don't know. If you have any notes on visual flair that you think could be added in, let me know. But the last frame is just you. I don't even know how to do it audibly. Maybe you could do a gasp. I'm not sure. Or a yikes or...
Ooh.
Oh, that works, yeah. Oh, what happens if you put it right to your throat? I'm going to hold...
That's what I did. I heard that, but it was also disgusting. Pick whichever one of those two sounds you like better, but that's more or less what I did, is put it right up to my throat.
Okay, perfect. I think that is it.
As for the Goo Goo Gaga evil child, you can darken the edges of the screen in a circle around that baby's face, just like fade into dark on the edges, just to create focus on the evil baby's face, and the visual darkness gives it a distinct sort of sinister appearance. Yeah, but have it only last for a moment, and then it's just back.
Ooh, a little, yeah, with like kind of sort of a little bit of glitching.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, do you think the voice as it is, as the toned down, sort of ridiculous cartoon bad voice is okay, or should we do it as the like dock worker East Coast, you hear the voice?
Oh, see, I was about to say that I thought the voice was great, but now that you say that, it actually makes me want to do like a Popeye villain, where it is just like the baby should have a big fat cigar sticking out of the side of his mouth.
Well, because it's totally inspired by the beginning of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, that is exactly the baby I'm thinking about.
Well, I'm try to do an impression. Close your eyes and try to do it. It's hard to nail that voice though.
I can't do it. I don't have the testosterone for it.
I would probably want to enter on I'm walking here. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, goo goo gaga.
Hey, I'm walking here. Yeah, I can't do it.
What you looking at? Hey, you looking over here? Hey, am I some kind of baby? I gotta break it down here. You get a little growl on it. Now I'm a little bit of a baby. What you looking at? Hey, now I'm coming around the corner. I'm Carface. This is what you gotta get your face scrunched up. I'm some kind of baby. I'm a baby and I'm gonna stay goo goo gaga.
What, you ain't never seen a baby before?
Oh, is that the line? What you ain't never seen a baby before?
I don't know, but that was what came to mind. It's a bit tough on you, isn't it?
It's not very fun.
It's hard to do Columbo too.
Yeah. Okay, I have sympathy now.
Oh, you didn't before, you son of a bitch.
I didn't give a shit. Oh, when it's hard to do a voice. When? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's rough.
Okay, shall we write an episode? That only took 43 minutes.
Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah, I guess we better get to it.
We are going limitless. Hey, maybe this is going to be limitless part 1 then.
Yeah, maybe. I'm okay with that because as a concept, especially because I turn it into steps, there's room for us to expand those quite a bit.
6 steps is a lot of room. I put it into a Google Doc for myself.
There we go. I've opened up the thread, so I'm looking at the steps.
So to begin with, last week we hinted at the fact that Todd and Tucker have prescription medications.
Yep, they get their pills every day. Oh, by the way, welcome to the cast, everyone.
Oh yeah, hey, welcome into the Tucker and Todd cast.
Yeah, we're getting started here. Not at all late. Everything's on schedule. Everything's fine.
They don't know that you heard their sound effects recording session.
Time is an illusion.
I thought it was freedom that was an illusion.
Oh yeah, freedom is an illusion, and time is a square circle.
That's the worst kind of circle I can think of.
Or is it a flat circle? That's the thing.
Oh, I think it was a flat circle.
A flat circle and a square earth.
But squares have flat edges.
Oh, I guess that's true. A square isn't a cube, is it? Math was never my strong suit. Is this math? Geometry? It all falls in. Is this geometry? Is it just shapes?
I don't know, but I've already got a headache about it.
Okay. Then let's move on. Let's write a story, shall we? I guess we have headaches now because we stopped taking our pills.
Oh, actually, that's a good point. At which point in the coming down from their medicated state do we want to begin? I mean, obviously we start in stage 1, but do we begin immediately after they don't take their pills, or maybe the morning after? They just kind of wake up and they're different?
Well, I'm curious. So you know how last week we started off, or was it last week? I can't even remember when they all blur together, but we did the little trope with, I think it was with Cody was watching something. Oh yeah, I think we were trying to watch something and then it turned into the news and we got bored. And the news was something about that was last week.
That was last week. It was a news report about the Roadrunner murderer.
So should we be playing a game or watching something on TV which hints at what's about to happen in the plot now, but we completely glaze past it, or should we not try to just immediately repeat little gags that we like because we stumbled upon them last week?
I don't know if we should start that story the exact same way the last one did, but on the other hand, starting it the exact same way and then having it super clearly diverge really quickly to separate it, to make it very different from the last one, starting the joke the same way, but wow, I'm having a hard time articulating this. I think it might be funny and it might be good. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, to completely to divert it, but also subvert it. So the way when as you were describing diverting it, what I imagined was we are watching television and it turns out that we're watching ourselves, and ourselves in the TV look around and go, oh, were we watching ourselves? And we look out through the hole to see ourselves sitting in the other room through the TV portal, and we're like, this is not exactly what I was intending. And then we move on, or whatever transition we need.
I was just thinking that if we start the joke in the same way, then we kind of establish a sort of just another day in their lives sort of tone, but then have it start to deviate more and more and more as they become limitless.
Oh, that is interesting. Is this
That was why I thought it would be okay to repeat the joke. Is it gives a suggestion that this is just another day, that this is just a regular day for Tucker and Todd. This is what they do. They watch cartoons and then the news comes on and they get bored and they change a channel, but maybe this time they don't change the channel. Maybe they're vaguely interested in the news.
Oh, as they are becoming limitless, they become interested in the news. They have capacity for it now.
Yeah, they have enhanced awareness. They remember today's date. That's stage 1. It's just like data retention, you know?
Oh, is this where we do a little bit of the fun? Okay, this is where we mock the time travel, knowing things ahead of time thing. The or not time travel, but this is the Groundhog Day thing. A little bit.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
hang with me for a second. In Groundhog Day, they do Jeopardy. He knows the thing ahead of time, and so we're watching the news, and they say today's date is, and we yell out the date because we already know it, and we're very proud.
Yes. Not only the date, but the approximate time.
It's in the corner.
Yeah, but we didn't notice it.
That's funny.
Well, we picked it up subconsciously, or unconsciously even. It's like subliminal imaging. Our brain is aware that the time is there and it clocks it in, but we're not consciously aware of it. So we know what time it is, but we don't know how we know what time it is.
Now, did you have any? Did you imagine in any way that the stages will sort of have? Will somebody be observing the stages and referring to them kind of like by name? Does Columbo notice that we're no, because Columbo is mom, so Columbo knows that this is occurring, but somebody else in the crew notices. Oh, I guess this would be good for a straight woman to notice that we're changing. She would notice that we're not
Straight
ridiculous.
woman, either straight woman or Plato or both, because this is kind of a platonic enlightenment bit, but we're taking it too far on purpose.
And it would also make sense that maybe she doesn't go full noir, but she does have detective skills.
Well, yeah, she's smarter. She's the smartest person in the building still.
So are we having, because I almost imagine as they identify each stage that we have a little like text title show up on the stage, like a little like a freeze frame, and the camera rotates like Matrix style around the subject as the text, like what is it, video game boss like and title announcement sort of things, like stage 1 enhanced awareness, freeze frame titles, stage 2
Oh,
enhanced
I
interest.
do like that. I was also thinking that it could be a lot like flavored subtitle text, like you would see in a scene change in, like for instance, 007 Quantum of Solace, especially when they go to like a different countries and they try to make the text look like it has an accent.
Oh yeah.
But I was thinking that for every stage, the little text becomes increasingly like sophisticated in font. Like the very first one should look like it's written in crayon and shit, and like have a letter flipped backwards. But then it becomes
Okay.
progressively more sophisticated and intellectual. And obviously, pseudo intellectualism will actually be the one that has the single most sophisticated looking text because it has to be pretentious.
Is it also like in Latin or something?
Oh, oh, sure. It can be in Latin, and then it has like in parentheses under it a translation.
Something like that, yeah.
But yes, I want it to be like a video game stage. I like that stage 1. This thing that's good.
Yeah, because Plato and Straight Woman will be kind of like what's the word? I guess conspiring, but there's another word for it. Commiserating. They will be commiserating in the corner or whatever. Like, have you noticed something going on with the boys? I have. Did you notice the way that they picked up on the time, the time on the news, or the date and the
Yeah,
timing?
they've never done that before.
Looks to me like enhanced awareness. A little like
That was
rock and
like
roll guitar lick.
a perfect name drop, and yeah, biddly-diddly-doo. That's how you make it a Bill and Ted adventure.
Yeah. And so do we spend much more time with the awareness? Is that just the one clue? Because I feel like enhanced interest, especially if it's more curious about politics and others' beliefs, that's something that can be explored for a while.
Yes, I think the enhanced perception will last until we become aware that there are things to become interested in. Like, this will be our first experience with a computer for real, where we find Twitter and stuff. Because in order to find something to be interested in, we have to be aware that there's something to find. So we have to the awareness leads into the interest. That's so stage 1 is brief, but it is the necessary gateway to stage 2. So there will be a moment where our awareness leads us to become interested in something, and then we focus on it.
And that would be outside of the news. It's not the news on TV, or is the news what sparks our interest? The news sparks our interest, then we go to look it up on the internet, and that's when we discover the true range of the internet.
Yeah, because we're like, wait, I want to know more about that particular specific piece of the news, and naturally Stan will say, well, why don't you just look it up? And we'll be like, look it up where? On the internet. What's the internet? And then we have that moment.
Is there any chance that the news actually holds our interest long enough that we get through to the first commercial break and we see a commercial for toothpaste, and what we actually want to look up is who the 10th dentist is?
Who's this 10th dentist that keeps getting in the way of everything?
Refuses, standing in the way of the toothpaste agenda?
Who is this guy? Yeah, okay. I think that's funny. That's funnier than looking up a news article.
Because I think technically a news article that we did show interest in was the unjust police killings or whatever.
Oh, yeah. We were very interested in that until we realized that a couple of
It
white
was
losers
dangerous.
can't do anything about it. And it's really dangerous to tangle with the police.
Too bad we didn't think of NFTs.
Hey, that's coming.
Yeah, but ours aren't going to sell for 131,000. Oh, did you hear about this guy in, I think it was Edmonton, who in 2013 had a crypto wallet on a hard drive that today is worth about $378 million, but that hard drive got thrown into his I don't give a fuck about it pile, and he has spent the last 8 years combing through the landfill trying to find the hard drive.
Wow. So he's just kind of assuming that it's still in some kind of state that he can make use of it with.
Oh my! Like it's an interesting treasure hunt because you know it is there, but you just don't know where you're gonna find it and what state it's gonna be in.
Yeah, well, I have no pity for people who don't know how to use backups.
Yeah, I have no pity for people who can't just move on to Plan B.
I mean, how hard would it be to have it transferred to a secure external hard drive that you keep?
Not hard.
Well, then I have zero pity because it was a not hard thing to do and he didn't do it.
Well, because that's the thing at the time. If it's worth 300, I can't remember what the number was then, but if it's worth 400 million now, like it wasn't worth nothing then. He spent a few $1,000, right?
Yeah, and that doesn't go in the don't give a fuck pile.
No, that's his problem.
So, we watched the news all the way through to a commercial break. Everybody in the studio is actually totally mystified that the news has our total attention. And then so does the commercial. We're hyper observant. We're absorbing this information.
Oh, and we can demonstrate this is how we can pull everybody in the room into the conversation a little bit. As that goes to commercial break, we can be like confused and upset, like, hey, what's happening? Where's it going? And it was like, what? They're
Where's
upset that the
where's
news
the
is going
news
away.
going? The information is leaving. Why'd it
I must
stop?
have more.
More what? More information. And then the commercial starts and we're like, wait, everybody be quiet.
It's still entrancing, yeah.
Well, yeah, once more stuff comes on the TV, because there's a brief pause. That'd be when we complain, where'd it go? Why did it stop? But then it starts giving us noise and stimulation again, so we get drawn back into it.
Immediately back. So it immediately goes to a toothpaste commercial, and it's the style of commercial where they're asking questions and we are answering them because we are fully engaged.
Yes, it's like watching Dora the Explorer. We're interacting with the TV.
Yeah, exactly. Salta. That's Spanish for jump.
Thanks. I'll forget that in any second now.
Immediately. It starts asking, do you have a sharp twinge in your teeth? I'm actually going to quote a toothpaste commercial I saw recently. Do you have a sharp twinge in your teeth? We're like, yes,
All the time.
constantly. Because, of course, we have awful mouth hygiene.
Yeah, I mean, you never brush my teeth.
Yeah, you never offer. We turn it into a you're a bad friend thing.
Yeah, you never brush my teeth. Anyway, you've got bad breath. Yeah, well, only because you don't brush my teeth.
Oh, hey, yeah. That can come up in our fight from last week.
Oh, right. Loud fight.
Okay, so where were we? So that's moving on. That's all through stage 1. And then we go onto the internet to look up do we actually find, is that how we discover like what Wikipedia is?
Yes.
We don't
So,
actually find the dentist, but we find the portal.
yeah, we go looking to find out who this 10th dentist is that always seems to be getting in the way of things. They're getting in the way of toothpaste, and that just won't do. We need to find out who this person is.
This guy
Because we
sounds like a real
assume,
stick in the mud.
yeah, we assume that it's the same dentist every single time. Because why wouldn't you?
Well, we just learned about villains last week. This guy sounds like a villain.
We're highly motivated. Yes, we never actually find out who it is, but we do find the portal.
And I guess we can have some self-references here. Craig can do it like a whole like, I swear the internet was like the first thing we ever talked about.
That's true. We went into the internet. We went to Craigslist. But
Yeah,
the boys don't remember that. They forget this stuff all the time.
true. Yeah, we can never be trusted to maintain any information. That's why we surround ourselves with these people.
Yeah, we only know as much as the plot needs us to know at any given time.
Okay, so you said we find Twitter. Did you have any?
If we want to get involved in the most basic form of politics, that's where we have to go.
Oh, right, because we're gonna start weaving actual. Because politics and pseudo politics and identity politics and all of it is what we're kind of like starting to aim towards with this whole arc.
Yes, and getting like really low level interested in politics and starting to think that you know a whole lot because you've read Twitter for 5 minutes, that's the basis for the pseudo intellectual stage. We basically spend an afternoon on the internet, and then when we come back out of that room, out of that office, we are pseudo intellectuals. We should probably come out dressed like hipsters and think we know everything.
Dressed like hipsters, and so are we. Basically, we're gonna be internet libertarians.
Oh man, are we going to be that bad?
Well, I'm trying to think of what specifically we stumble upon that what specific political attachment point hooks us. Would it be some sort of meme? I don't want it to be any of the big kind of circle of the pseudo intellectuals that we're kind of going to turn into the kind of the league of villains that we were discussing, but it would need to be something kind of like on the lowest tier before that. What is what are they called? Entry drug, starter drug, gateway drug. What is the gateway drug to pseudo intellectual politics online?
You're going to have to repeat that. I got screwed by the RTS server.
You got zapped.
Yeah, so back it up. What was the last thing I said?
The last thing that you said, I can't even remember. I was talking for a while.
Okay, well then you're going to have to start over.
I was asking what would be the gateway drug to us getting involved. Oh, you were saying that we would have hipster clothes pretty much, I think was the last thing I remember you saying.
Okay, well, we had discussed that we would lead to the rise of intellectual fascist icons, which means
Right.
that we probably can't start at intellectual fascism. We have to invent it. So, what could we get? What could serve as the seed for us to start, wrapping our heads around and like pushing intellectual fascism?
Well, so I don't know if you want to do a little bit of like art imitating life or whatever. My gateway into having any sort of opinion about those things as like a prepubescent, not even a teenager, was George Carlin bits from the 90s. And so if could it be a meme, a George Carlin meme, and we're like, what? That gets our goat. and we run away with it and misinterpret it off into the wrong direction.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
That's something we've literally talked about.
Yes, and a lot of George Carlin bits from the 90s serve as the basis for this entire cast.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yep, that is life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art. Like it's somewhere in that art life vortex.
And a lot of the people that we're going to hold up as the intellectual fascist villain league, the Motley Crew, use some of the kind of the memes that I'm talking about. Yeah, to this day.
Yes, they use a lot of those same rhetorical techniques, and they use a lot of the same talking points, although they use them incorrectly, which is exactly what we have to do as pseudo-intellectuals.
So I guess would the 6 degrees of separation or whatever, as we're jumping on the Wikipedia machine, we're trying to find who's the 9 out of 10th dentist, and then it takes us to a Seinfeld page, and we're like, yeah. In related topics, it takes us to George Carlin, and then pops up a Carlin meme.
Jerry, no. Oh, that's what I want the boys to find.
Okay, that works. Yeah.
Jerry, oh my God. Oh, phew. I laughed so hard that I spat out drink I didn't have.
You astrally summoned drink.
That's exactly what I did, and then I spat it out.
You're the worst X-Man.
I'm only in there by fiat.
Yeah. Okay, so that is how we arrive at Carlin, and that gets us interested and curious about politics and others' beliefs, and it starts bringing us down. Do we fall down any rabbit hole with that? Then I guess that lead us to. I think because we still have to stay at the bottom tier of these characters and figures. Do we end up on 4chan or something like that?
I think 4chan is probably the final place we end up, because if we want to like really try to squeeze some mileage out of the stage 2, we're going to have to go to a few places, but I think 4chan is probably the final place we make it to before we bridge the gap into stage 3, because that is the pseudo intellectual's paradise.
Well, I guess so. We start off with kind of like the mainstream Twitter and YouTube channels and whatnot, and then we go deeper into the web, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. But like none of the sophisticated stuff, which is why we stop at 4chan.
Yeah, sophisticated.
Yeah, none of the deep web stuff that you need to get like the Tor browser for, which, by the way, it's no longer all that secure, everybody. Also, yes, they can definitely find you behind 6 proxies.
It's a lot of proxies.
7 is where they draw the line. That's what I heard.
A prox on my house? That doesn't work.
No. But where can we go next? I suppose we go from Twitter to some of the darker corners of YouTube.
I don't even know who any of these characters are anymore. Well, so I mean, there's mainstream on YouTube, but wouldn't some of the mainstream on YouTube be getting into some of our like S tier of villains?
It sure would be getting close, but that's why we wouldn't quite be going mainstream YouTube. We'd have to go into some of the darker corners. And the darker corners of YouTube would direct us towards some of the more right-wing leaning platforms that are smaller and, much less known about.
Oh, I see. I don't know do you mean like Parler and Signal and those ones?
Yes, I mean exactly those.
So do we end up on a Discord server first, and then we get kicked out and our clothes are stolen?
Did you just say we lose our clothes by getting kicked out of a Discord server? Do we have to physically go to the Discord server?
Yeah,
we're now just in a room?
I don't know why I was doing a we're in the internet thing again. You're right. We're just on we're just on the websites.
But yeah, that definitely needs to be a few steps removed. But I think like YouTube and Twitter could lead us to something like Parler, and then on until we eventually reach what is basically the internet's dumping ground, the internet's toilet, the internet's waste processing system, which is 4chan.
Are we doing a montage of moving through these, or are we spending time on each one and putting in gags about each site. Because maybe if it works as a montage, we could also would throw in like us playing like browser games in between.
I think each one probably does warrant a very brief scene, either to show us getting kicked out of it or to show us somehow being drawn to the next thing.
Yeah, I guess would we be getting kicked out of these places? Because we want to be getting sucked into the funnel, I believe.
I think what will happen is we'll show up and we'll absorb what information is there, but then someone because there's always someone who's a bad influence in these places who'll be like, oh, let's get out of here, this place is full of squares, if you really want to know what's going on you should come over here. Somebody leaves us a breadcrumb or something.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Bonus points if it's an actual real little candy bar and it's like a trail for Homer Simpson to follow and we do that.
Or because it's the internet, it's cookies.
Ooh, we have to click accept before we can eat them.
Yeah. Do you accept this cookie? Okay.
Hell yeah, I do.
Yeah. I kind of like that gag, actually. Oh, and then we get tired of clicking one at a time, so we say accept all cookies, and then it like it takes us to the end of the trail.
Yeah, I suppose it just, do we get pulled or do all the cookies just fly into our mouths?
I don't know. I'm imagining so many different things because we're sitting there at a computer screen, and I guess we would click a page, and then it would open up the prompt for "Do you accept this cookie?" And when we click accept, that would take us to another page.
We get to move a
cookie
little bit
trail.
further forward, yes.
Yeah. And then when we accept all cookies, it just like it opens a bunch of cascading windows and then closes them all quickly as we arrive at the last page.
Yes, I suppose we'll do that gag a grand total of 3 times before we accept all cookies.
Of course.
Naturally.
And I guess we would become more disappointed each time. That's why we give up on it. We're very enthused about accepting cookies, but we're sitting there at the good thing at the screen going like, "Where's my cookie? There's no cookie. You've promised me fucking cookies. I accept all cookies."
And then just like, I guess since we're in the studio, most of this is going to occur in the studio till we become villains ourselves. But I guess Stan should probably be standing in the doorway to the office watching us and actually eating cookies. Dad's cookies right out of the box.
Do we know he's there? We see him eating cookies each time we press the button, and we don't get anybody. He gets one, so we're now mad at him. Fuck you, Stan.
I have a feeling that if we reacted negatively to Stan, he wouldn't be able to muster a single fuck to give. He would just kind of do this really lazy shrug and then bring another cookie to his mouth.
Well, he's there to troll.
Slow crunch. Fuck you, Stan.
The camera gets very close as he grins, cookie crumbs on his lips.
He has nothing to be mad about in the whole world right now. We all should be so lucky to be Stan.
Oh, I don't. It's just it's a stupid one-off joke. But at some point, Stan should be practicing like downward dogs and sun salutations and whatever.
You mean Stan's doing yoga?
Oh, so he's a yogi bear.
He's a yoga bear.
What do you call this? I call this the picnic basket.
He's a yogi bear. Yeah, this one is the picnic basket. I like that.
He's sitting there touching his toes. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he just kind of does a squat and with his knees spread far apart, and he grabs something off the floor.
And then he does what is the word? He telegraphs. He telegraphs that he is in pain, and he kind of does like and we go, what's wrong? And he says, I don't know. I have a boo boo.
Ho ho ho. Okay.
It's all just gags. I'm running away with it.
That's okay. I like that one. If we're gonna do he's a yogi bear, do we even say he's a yogi bear, or do we just show him doing yoga and let that joke go unsaid? And then he says he has a boo boo, and then it clicks if you know.
I think the yogi bear has to be implied. That's the best joke to not actually like rub in your face.
Yeah, and then if anything, the boo boo bit rubs it just enough that you know that it wasn't like an accidental joke. It was a pun intended.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Stage 2. We're progressing through all of these websites. Have
Ooh,
we arrived? Oh, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, once we do get to 4chan, we definitely don't get to point the camera at the screen, just at our reaction to the stuff we see, which is going to be mostly horrified.
Mostly horrified. It starts off with just like looking like you've got an itch in your nose.
Actually, it should probably start with like a smile, enthused excitement. We're finally here. This is the last stop. That's what everybody said. And then we're just like smiling, and then we're like, hey, that's kind of funny. Oh, oh, whoa!
What's jailbait?
What's CP? What what is that? They can't do that. They can't say that. And it's just eventually we're going to come out of that room and we're going to look like we've aged 15 years.
That's interesting.
It's in fact it's going to be the difference. Actually, yeah, that's we're going to come out of there pseudo intellectuals. But maybe 4chan should actually be the stage before rejection, because if we come out of there looking really really bedraggled and like we don't take care of ourselves anymore, that's the rejection stage.
I'm just trying to figure out is that if we encounter at the bottom of a well of becoming curious and interested in politics and other people's beliefs, the ultimate effect is that we discover 4chan and we're simply so disgusted by it. What is the exact cause and effect? We're so disgusted by it, but we don't want to destroy it and fight it, and that it doesn't push us to become heroes. Also, we need to work in us becoming limitless. So we're going through the stages. Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it all. Oh, they feel like that was their like rite of passage. They feel like we've become men now. This is the pseudo intellectualism.
Yeah, they this is where they're like, we're all grown up now, we know everything we need to know, we've got it.
They feel like their mind got laid and now they know everything.
That's exactly how they feel. That's the best way to describe it I've ever heard.
Well, I guess put that on my gravestone then.
Yeah, I think I will. That's a worthy epitaph. His mind got laid. He didn't, but it'll do.
He always said everything was better than sex. We figure he never got laid.
Just his mind.
Okay, so that is how we move into stage 3. Then that I'm willing. That makes sense to me.
Yes, we come out of browsing 4chan at stage 3. So we're now pseudo intellectuals.
We think that is the height of like trauma and human experience. Yeah, well, if we've
Yeah.
experienced that,
Yeah, that's it. We've seen the worst the world has to offer. We now know everything.
we bump into somebody outside who's like a paramedic or something like that, an emergency paramedic who's like bemoaning how they just helped scrape somebody off a windshield or whatever, and we're like, whatever.
We just shake our heads. Sweet summer child. Oh, sweet summer child. If only you knew. Now that is pseudo intellectual.
If only you knew.
Because I guess we assume we've seen the height of human tragedy because we've been in 2 gore threads.
But we also know everything about atheism and whatnot too. Should we have like a dinner party scene where we're like at a table and we're staring down our nose at somebody talking about how there is no God or whatever?
Oh, are we so atheist that we're actually going to make fun of atheists? Like, you're not even atheist enough.
Oh, gatekeeping atheism. Yeah, that's perfect.
Because apparently, if they believe in anything at all, they're wrong.
I think there's that Osho guy had a quote, I think, about like, if you call yourself an atheist, then you are permitting that there is a theism to rail against, and so true atheists don't believe in anything. True
They
atheism
don't.
is nihilism.
Yeah, they don't even believe in atheism.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a atheist.
Yeah, so you just have to be a nihilist. But that sounds an awful lot like the path to stage 4, where we just get total rejection.
Learning enough to realize the truth, and nobody. So I think I want to dabble a little bit more in the Dunning-Kruger effect because I need a fucking lesson on it every time. Remind me of what it is and how we can apply it here.
The Dunning-Kruger effect is what happens when somebody is fundamentally ignorant of their own level of competence in something. So you basically lack the competence to accurately gauge how competent you are. You are too stupid to know you're stupid, which means you think you know a lot more than you actually do, and you're very confident in your knowledge.
I guess should we demonstrate that at this at a dinner table scene? I don't know how we
How would you
necessarily.
like to demonstrate it?
Well, I feel like it's interesting because we're kind of trying to do two different things at the same time with the character. If we're showing them kind of like they are descending, they're becoming technically worse while improving
Well,
in acumen.
yes, in this particular part, the pseudo-intellectualism, we know a little bit, but since we have no idea how actually broad the field of our knowledge is, we have no idea how little of it we know. So we think we know a lot, which means we're really confident.
Oh,
We've scratched the tiniest surface because we have no idea how massive the iceberg is for us to learn. We've scratched a tiny bit, so we know that tiny bit, and we think that there isn't much left, if anything.
I got it. So since we're setting ourselves up for rejection, stage 3 of pseudo intellectualism, so it's kind of like what I said about we see a paramedic and we scoff. How about we start going around injecting ourselves into crises situations thinking that we know better than everyone else because we know, like, it's like somebody who like saw a YouTube video, so now they like become vigilant. So we become vigilantes briefly, but because we are actually inept, but we can't see that we're inept and nobody can convince us we're inept, we believe that everybody else is wrong, and then nobody knows anything and everything is pointless. And that's what pushes us to become villains is everybody rejected our attempt at vigilante heroism.
Well, the rejection stage isn't just us being rejected. We reject everything.
Yeah, it's both at the same time. I mean,
But when we say that nobody actually knows anything, we're including ourselves. That's the necessary part of the enlightenment path. Is we realize the truth of the Dunning-Kruger effect. We realize that we actually don't know anything.
well, yeah.
So
So,
not only do people need to push us away for trying to intercede on their crises, we have to fail bad.
well, I think, yeah, we will fail. We will fail every time. Yeah, well, I think that was the point, is that we will insert ourselves into these situations, and we will, because we think that we know better, and then even though because this is almost turning into a little bit. Should we insert some House references here? Even though House was not a pseudo intellect, he was what would you call it? A para intellect.
House was almost certainly in the rejection phase for a lot of it. He was like right on the threshold of rejection and enlightenment because he thought everybody was an idiot. And he many times admitted that he's like, I'm almost always eventually right. Because he learns and accomplishes everything by trial and error. So
Right.
he flat out knows that he doesn't know shit.
But we're not quite there yet. So I think, unless do you have a did you have something else thought out for stage 3?
Making total nuisances of ourselves and becoming isolated from everybody that we know and care a little bit about. That is the pseudo intellectual way. Is we have to push everybody into rejecting us, and that's in our isolation. Then we come to realize the truth, and then we reject everything else.
So do you think it would work to do the inject ourselves into crises thinking everybody's wrong, but believing still at this stage believing that the reason, I mean, unless I've got it wrong, at stage 3 we believe that we're failing because, well, I guess we just simply were meant to. We didn't fail because we were wrong. We failed because this just doesn't work. But then
Because other
after,
people did something wrong. It
right,
wasn't us, it was somebody else. Yes, I think we should start trying to solve everybody's problems because we know everything.
which is kind of what we've been doing the entire time in the show. We run around trying to solve problems, but missing the key point of like pointing well, you fucked it up. Oh, I see. Have you disappeared?
So, we go around and inject ourselves. Basically, the world's in some state of calamity just everywhere. We'll walk down the street and there's paramedics, and we'll walk a little bit further and there's a burning building, and we'll try and get people out of there. But everything we get involved in we're over our heads and we screwed up.
Like, do we take it to all sorts of different levels? Like, we try to cure cancer. We're in like a war room trying to stop the launch of a nuclear code or whatever.
I love that. Then we get something of a montage where we go scene to scene, just like we did previously with finding our various websites. But now we're here we are in like a pharmaceutical lab trying to cure a disease, and then over there, yeah, in the war room, trying to navigate some kind of hypothetical field of war.
Like an asteroid is going to come towards Earth or whatever. Is it that? It's an Independence Day scenario.
Oh, it's Armageddon, and somewhere in the background, Liv Tyler is crying.
Oh yeah, Armageddon is The Rock. Independence Day is Aliens. I mean, it could be either or. I just figured out your quote here. I perceive this circumstance as distinctly improbable. Is your pseudo-intellectual version of, well, that's highly unlikely.
Yeah, exactly. We have to speak with like a great deal of pretentiousness.
I can do that. I can dig into my my middle school journals. And so after attempting to navigate all these emergency situations, do we, because every single time everybody else's failures sets us up to fail, is that what makes us reject our path?
With every failure, we become slightly more, I wouldn't say jaded, but slightly less optimistic, slightly less confident. Eventually, we do inevitably have to do the "is it us? Is it me?" kind of thing, which is what causes it to snap. That's the breaking point that leads to stage 4, where we realize the truth. We
Okay, so
don't
I guess
know anything. Nobody knows anything. Everything is pointless. This is rejection could also be described as nihilism.
right. And so our montage the scenarios would have to escalate in severity each time, and the very last one would be some sort of like war thing, and so millions of people die or whatever, I don't know. And that's when we realize, well, fuck, we caused this.
Well, no, somebody has to probably scream it in our face. They have to just yell at us that this is our fault, that we caused this.
Oh, okay.
Somebody probably has to grab you by the head, like both sides of your head, and just be like, "No, you did this." And then it just like echoes in our minds. And
Oh,
then
do we go into exile after that or whatever? Like we retire to our cabin in the woods to lick our wounds or to wallow in our rejection?
yeah, I think we go into isolation. And that's
That's good.
where
We go
stage
into
4 begins.
we go into isolation together. We grow beards and chop wood all day.
Oh, yeah, perfect. We become hermits, we grow big beards, and we go Jumanji style.
Oh, is it worth doing? Do we put a wall around a pond so that we can call it a walled-in pond? It's a walled-in pond.
Nice. Very clever.
I'm just trying to be thorough.
Okay, so we are now at our cabin, and we are in the throes of rejection. It'll be sad music montage, basically.
So at this point, that we are now in stage 4 rejection. Have we had Plato and Straight Woman watching us go through each of these phases? So are they watching us from their own cabins across the pond or whatever? They're
Oh yeah,
watching us.
they're definitely observing, because Plato is probably really happy. He considers this particular phase to be bittersweet, but he's watching our enlightenment, which he's probably explaining some of this to Straight Woman. She's just like, "I know, I paid attention in class."
But yeah, he would be excited because I don't know if this ends up being related to it. I can't even remember what I proposed a couple of weeks ago about what Plato's whole motivation was, but he would be happy. Like, don't you see? They've been limited this entire time. Somebody's been limiting them.
Yeah, somebody's been limiting them. Now they're limitless. Just like totally name drop it. But yeah, this is our we're leaving Plato's cave. The pseudo intellectual phase was the shadows on the walls.
I wonder if that should be a joke somewhere in there. Like one of the websites that we end up on is like thecave.com or something. And we're like, huh? Plato kind of snickers. You'll see. Okay, so this is in the rejection phase. So are we like we're sitting there, we're watching John Hughes movies and drinking brown liquor every night.
Oh yeah. And in fact, it's still in a brown paper bag, despite the fact that we're indoors and at home.
Nobody can see it, but it is actually juice boxes in brown paper bags.
Yeah, naturally. Nobody would give us alcohol.
So do we reach enlightenment while in this like seclusion, or does somebody need to come and like deliver us some message of hope, or tell us that some other place is in danger? I'm trying to figure out what kind of story technique we're going with here. I guess I could read this. Realize that the pursuit of knowledge is its own reward, and that the mysteries of the universe, while unknown, are not necessarily unknowable. Doubt becomes cautious optimism. Confident, or are we still spending more time in stage 4? Do we really need to lean into the doubt?
Well, so long as it lasts a little while, something probably has to snap us out of it, though. It doesn't have to be like a long montage. We just need a couple of scenes with some sad kind of music, and then something needs to snap us out of it. Maybe even something as simple as a movie quote in one of the films we're watching.
Oh, interesting. I need to zoom forward a little bit though, because I was trying to because enlightenment sounds like it's a good thing, and it sounds like we're not going to be pseudo intellectuals, but limitless enlightenment goes too far. So I feel like I would need to set up enlightenment being something that can be took too far in the next phase.
In the enlightenment phase?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what kind of enlightenment would come from. I guess I'm trying to reverse engineer it.
Well, the enlightenment going too far is when we basically transcend and become a higher state of being.
I want something effective to be the what snaps us out. I just have zero ideas in my mind of what snaps us out of our rejection / dejection.
Yeah, I probably just some kind of movie quote where somebody says something vaguely inspirational about, the pursuit of self-betterment being like a motivational cause in and of itself.
And now this is one of those things though where, or I guess not that, whatever, though. This is one of those things where I wonder if should it be actually inspirational, or should it be something kind of silly and kind of whatever, blasé or whatever, something in passing that we misinterpret as being inspirational.
Well, maybe, but we are still much more intelligent than we were before, so stuff is much more difficult for us to misinterpret now.
Oh, that's actually, there you go. Should we be inspired by something that is universally considered extremely pretentious?
Ooh, like what?
I don't know, like oh, well, I was gonna say a Wes Anderson movie, but I guess even more than like a Jack Kerouac quote or something like that. Let me just do a search. What's the most pretentious movie? Oh, what's that Natalie Portman movie with the Shins music?
I am not sure.
Garden State. We get inspired by Garden State or something like that.
Is it pretentious enough
I think so.
to kick us right on? It's so pretentious that it will kick us out of pretentiousness and into genuine enlightenment.
It would be kind of funny if it's something like it's like Clerks. Oh, let's see. Eyes Wide Shut, The Tree of Life, Vanilla Sky. Oh, what if it's a Woody Allen movie? Magnolia. Garden State's on the list. Lost in Translation.
Oh, I know what it'll be. We'll just watch The Great Dictator and it's Charlie Chaplin's speech.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because it's actually about, optimism and enlightenment, and it's not pretentious. It would be the kind of thing that would appeal to us in our heightened state.
That's true. Okay.
I mean, because it's a speech that I like as an actual person, and
Yeah,
I'm
and
smarter than Tucker.
and it would be fun to actually have that thrown into. I think you can do that, right? We could do that. We could have the whole thing as like an audio chunk and then put animation over it or whatever.
Can we?
I think so. I'll look into that. Or maybe the little bits of it.
Yeah, little bits of it I'm sure we can manage. 3-second clips of it at a time. Okay, so we listened to Charlie Chaplin's speech, which is one of the greatest speeches in film history, and we splash into enlightenment. Something in us just snaps. We're both sitting there on the couch, and we both kind of like our necks jerk to one side, and you hear a crack. It's just that's how it works.
Glowing?
Maybe our eyes light up a little.
We could do it all like corny, like, hey, wait a second. We catch each other's eye for a moment. What was that? I don't know. It looked like your eyes just lit up for a second.
You're enlightened. And of course, this is the opportunity for the camera to pan back to Plato, who will excitedly announce to Straight Woman that we've done it. We've reached enlightenment. We're coming out of the cave now. We're about to see the real truth, not the truth that nobody knows anything, but the truth that knowledge is out there and that everything is basically within our grasp.
And so they're celebrating and kind of like ready to pack it in. Like, this has been a successful little journey. Job well done. Pat you on the back. Let's go home.
Yeah, they're because Plato believes that this is the final stage. And so they both agree that something good has happened and now they can leave. They're going to come and get us, which they're going to come and collect us. They know that we've been at this cabin for a while. They've been just like watching us. So they're going to come and get us, take us back to the studio, and it's going to be like, how do you guys feel now? How are you doing?
And
And
are we still demonstrating or displaying signs of enlightenment at that point? Are we all
yeah,
zenned out?
yeah, we're zenned out. We gotta speak smoothly. We're basically gonna talk like the Big Lebowski, just like relaxed.
Levitating slightly.
Yeah, we no longer touch the ground. Plato's gonna talk about how he thought this was actually just like a hypothetical state. He didn't know it was real. He just thought it was purely hypothetical.
Oh, and when we get back to the studio, he notices that we don't have shadows anymore.
Oh, that's a good touch. I like that.
We levitated off the ground and our shadows left us. And at first maybe that seems like it's not that big of a deal, but then that is actually a symptom of us reaching limitlessness.
Well, that's us, reaching the true enlightenment. We leave our shadows behind. Once we step out of the cabin, we start to levitate, and with our feet no longer attached to the ground, the shadows just kind of blow away.
Yeah.
But there's no limitless yet, because this is already a two-parter now, and the limitless is going to be its entire own episode where we're totally out of control.
Yeah, I guess so, because I was like, we were going to tell a story where we became villains, and then we made our way through this whole thing without ever becoming villains, but that is the entire 6th stage.
Yeah, it's this is basically how it starts.
I guess it only made sense that it would ever be a two-parter, because we would have to go through the process of becoming limitless, and now we need our episode where our crew fights to bring us back.
Yeah, this is our Batman Begins. This is our origin story for our villainhood.
Excellent.
So yeah, we've left our shadows behind. We've reached this Zen enlightenment state. And Plato is super proud of us because he didn't think it was actually possible, and he was actually starting to give up hope himself. So he's super proud. Straight Woman is proud. We're basically reconciling with everybody that rejected us and that we in turn rejected during stage 4. So we're going around town, and now we're actually solving the problems that we failed to solve before.
Amazing.
So we're contributing in a positive way now. So like we're fixing problems, not just the problems we created, but we're fixing everybody's problems. We're just going around all those people that died, somehow we fix that. Thanos snap them back to life. I don't know.
Is this a montage also? Like we can levitate by, we float past, and as we wipe past, it fixes the situation. It turns all pristine and sparkly.
Oh, it's like a Mr. Clean commercial. Yeah, we just like pass by and there's like a big sweep, and now everything's sparkling and brightly colored and fixed.
And it's the laziest magic wand.
Exactly, and it's perfect. So yeah, that's how this one will proceed. Is we fix everything we were doing. And now that's all sorted out. Then I guess we return to the studio, and we're just gonna zen relax. Do you think there's anything further we should add to our enlightenment stage that would contribute more to it?
I'm just reading the way that you've had it worded here. Is there should we be demonstrating our specific our value for knowledge? Should we find some sort of
maybe we should start teaching.
Ooh, for free.
We start doing Plato. we take Plato's role. We start teaching people philosophy. We're now Plato.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Are we wearing togas?
I don't see why not.
We adopt the whole look. And so are we going door to door like proselytizing?
Oh, I thought we would be at a lecture hall.
Oh, I guess that would, or a would it be a full nod? We're at like an amphitheater.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so does it end on a good note? Do we don't end on any sort of, should there be a kind of like a single half a frame of like foreshadowing that it's not going to stay good, or do we end on a happy note and then immediately disrupt the next time?
That is actually something I've been thinking about, is how we could kind of hint that the process hasn't quite finished, that there's still further to go. And I'm thinking maybe instead of anything too obvious, the stage 6 text comes onto the screen and one of us kind of shoves it right back off.
Or unless that's where we want to. Sorry, say that one more time. I wasn't listening. I was thinking. Please say it one more time.
Sorry, I was thinking something a little bit, less narratively engaging than like us showing like a hint of continued development. Is that like the game stage text for stage 6 just like comes onto the screen, and one of us kind of shoves it away. Next time, buddy.
Okay, that as well as like another little, like maybe a loading. What's the loading cursor or whatever comes on the screen and it appears like it's loading, and then we kind of, that's when we pop up and shove the loading thing to the side. A buffering, that's what I meant to say. So the screen comes up like stage 6 and then it pauses and there's a buffering icon, and then we pop up and shove the buffering icon out of the way and say like next time.
Yes, we basically just push it out of the way.
And then if we wanted to do a post-credit sequence, it could be mom being told by somebody that, I don't know if you know, but the boys haven't received their medication for the past, or the boys' last medication delivery never showed up. And she's like, what? How long has it been? And they say it's been however many days. And she says, they'll be on stage 5 now.
Oh, I like that. And then she looks at some kind of printed handout, and cut off at the bottom of the screen it says stage 6.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
I think that's good. I think that's the whole thing tied up.
Yes, and it's a narrative way to show it without us kind of directly foreshadowing it, but by beginning some kind of a change. Because I want to be enlightened at the beginning of the next episode, and have it progress into a problem from there.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to start that, and that'll be a good way to demonstrate through an actual situation. Everybody's kind of gotten used to us being this way, but except for maybe, do you think Straight Woman would be the only one who's like not totally optimistic? She's still a little bit like,
she is the only one who has
skeptical.
sense enough to be skeptical about this. She will be glad, but like skeptical.
Yeah. And then we'll have some interaction with her at the beginning of the next one where we're still in the enlightenment phase, but maybe like the cracks are beginning to show of us becoming limitless, and she runs and tells everybody like, you guys, they just said blah blah blah, or whatever the scenario is. And everybody's like, what? Have you seen what they've been up to?
Yeah.
The unreliable whatever. But that's for next week.
But yeah, I think the only person who still doesn't quite believe that we're the perfect life forms now is Straight Woman. She knows better. She's genre savvy. She's seen this movie before.
And she's the only one that watches movies and learns anything from them.
Which means she's the only one who's really in danger of becoming truly enlightened and staying that way.
True.
If you subscribe to the notion that you can become enlightened from just watching movies.
If you subscribe to that notion. And if you're not subscribed to the Tucker Todd tube, I would recommend you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, check up on us on other forms of media. I think we do a TikTok.
Yeah, we started a TikTok. We're on Instagram. And I also posted our RSS feed to both Castbox and Radio Public this week. And after I posted to Radio Public, we gained 30 listens in a day.
That's awesome.
About as much as we usually.
And we will make more and new and interesting things.
The more we do it, the more there is, and the better we get at it.
Absolutely.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add? I think that is all a package now.
Yeah, I think that's neatly tucked away. and I think we've really well set the stage for going fully limitless and becoming villains in the next episode. But we've done Plato's Cave, so we got that.
Finally worked in
That's
there.
done. Yeah, that was how Plato started in here. That was our very first idea for Plato, was to do Plato's Cave. Now we've kind of done it.
And there's always a chance, and that's why I was trying to set up with the shadows. Maybe there is a chance that our shadows they left us while we were enlightened, and maybe they come back to us. Maybe they coming back to us, they enter us, and that is us going limitless or something like that. Like, I'm trying to work in how the shadows are their own thing that can factor in later. I'm not sure.
Oh, no, they're just going to return to us once we start taking our medicine. If anything, they're like a limiter.
Okay, they're like Peter Pan shadows.
Yeah, they keep us mortal.
Okay.
We've shed them. They were our mortality. We're now a higher being.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're done.
We're good. And so I think that means ultimately that I am. Oh no, I really hate this. I think I think I want to re-engineer it altogether, because I think it sounds contrived a little bit, and I kind of wish we had our own little thing. Did you ever listen to the My Brother and Me podcast?
No, I didn't.
It's not super great, but it launched the, what do they call it? Big Fun or whatever it's called, the podcast network,
Oh,
Major
yeah?
Fun Co. or whatever. Anyways, that trio, they would sign off because early on when they first started off their podcast, they said we need to have some sort of like original sign off for the end. So at the end of every podcast, they would say, and don't forget to kiss your dad square on the lips. And I wish we had something more like that.
Don't forget to take your pills.
Yeah. And don't forget to take your pills.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, but for now, you have indeed been Todd,
and you've been Tucker,
and this has been a cast,
and you've been the best audience. Have a good night, everyone.
The best audience. Good night, Craig.
Yeah, don't forget to mention Craig. He doesn't really get to star in any episodes anymore.
Yeah, and I didn't remember to say hello to him either.
Well, I certainly weaseled my way in anyway, didn't I?
Dang it. You're distracted. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Craig.
Goodbye, Felicia.
Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks. And fuck Tucker's friend, Todd.